First of all, in multiplication and division, what does a positive and a positive make for an answer? Positive. How about a negative and a negative? Positive. How about a positive and a negative? Negative. And a negative and a positive? A negative. Okay. So last time we met, we talked about addition and subtraction of negative numbers, but we didn't talk about multiplication and division. Everything you need to know about multiplication and division is right there. So tonight in your homework, you're going to be given problems. And remember I said if you want to get better at math, you got to do something different. And so here's what I want you to do different. I want you to use your calculator. But I want you to figure out the sign of the answer before you calculate on the calculator. And this will ensure that you never get a sign incorrect. Okay? So right now let's practice this. What is the sign of this answer? Negative. And the answer is -5. What is the sign of this answer? Positive. And the answer is 10. What is the sign of this answer? Positive. And the answer is 3. Sign of this answer, negative and negative make a positive. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And the sign of this answer, negative. Positive and negative make a negative. This makes -21. Okay, we cool? Hard or easy? Easy. So that's going to be the majority of the homework in section 1.5 and 1.6. So if you can't do the math in your head, you can do it on a calculator, but I want you figuring out the sign of the answer on your own. And I want you getting in that habit, because if you do that when we do algebra, you're not going to screw up the sign. When you try to plug signs into your calculator, a lot of times you botch it up. Okay, I do too. So it's better to just figure out the sign on your own. So let's look at these next couple of problems rapidly. We're going to rip through this super fast. There's 3 pages to cover. I want to see how fast we can go. Okay, so when I have a string of things being multiplied or divided, it helps us if we just count up the negatives. How many negatives in this problem? Okay, so it's telling me if I have an odd number, the answer will be negative. If it's even, the answer will be positive. The reason for that is this. Look up here. If I have -1, what does that equal? Well, it equals -1. If I have -1 times -1, what does that equal? Help me. 1. If I have -1 times -1 times -1, what does that equal? -1. If I have -1 times -1 times -1 times -1, what does that equal? Positive 1. Right, so we're seeing here that 1 and 3, and we do this again, -1, -1, -1, -1, -1, what does that equal? -1. And we can play this game all day long. A negative and a negative make a negative and a negative make a times a negative make a negative and a negative make a times a negative makes a, and that negative and that negative make a positive, right? And it just goes on and on. And so we know that if we have an odd number of negatives, that we have a negative answer. But if we have an even number, it is going to be positive. So tell me this. What's -1 to the 14th? What is it? It's just 1. Say it with confidence. 1, 2, 3. It's 1 because that's an even number. What's -1 to the 7th? -1 because it's an odd number. We cool? Okay. So going back to this. Tell me the sign of this answer. Positive or negative? Positive. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative. So the answer is? Positive. Multiply it out. Do it on a calculator in your head. 2 times 3 is 6 times 4 is 24 times 2 is 48 times 3 is 144. The answer is 144, positive 144, because you have 4 even number of negatives. We cool? Okay. Same thing here. Is this answer going to be negative or positive? Positive. 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives. So the answer once again is going to be positive. Okay? And with that in mind, we can multiply all that out on a calculator. Okay? And would you like to see me do it without a calculator? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, hurry. Read it to me.
-2/3 times by 3/4 times by -1/2 times by 7/8 times by -2 times by 1 times by -3.
I like it. Okay, look up here, please. These 3's cancel each other out. Understand that? This 2 goes into this 4 2 times. Understand that? Cross canceling. Okay, this 2 can go into that 2 or into that 8. It doesn't matter, top to bottom. Even if you jump 1, it doesn't matter because commutative law says I could rearrange these, so it wouldn't make any difference. So I did all my cross canceling. I know the answer is positive because I counted up my negatives. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's a positive answer. The only thing I have left on top is 7 and 3, which makes 21. And the only thing left on bottom is 2 and 8, which makes 16. That doesn't reduce. I'm done. Okay? Let's go to the next page. This is just some simple stuff we got to review. There are some critical multiplication and division concepts that we have to understand as we navigate ourselves through algebra. This is the final bits and pieces of Karate Kid basics. Tiny, tiny stuff that makes a difference. First one is the zero rules. Okay? Help me out here real quick. Any number times 0 equals what?
0.
Perfect. 0 divided by any number equals
0.
But any number divided by 0 equals,
0.
well, it equals undefined. You gotta write that on there. Undefined. Okay? Rapidly, I'm going to share a quick story with you. Let's say I came to class today. How many people are in here? Probably 28 with all of us, including me and Grace. 28 people. Let's say I brought 28 donuts to class today, and there's 28 people. If we divide this, we all get how many donuts? 1 donut per person, right? But the case is, today, as it will be probably every day, I brought 0 donuts. I'm sorry, I suck, but you can bring donuts too, okay? And so, how many donuts do we have today? How many donuts you got? None, and me too. So we have 0 donuts per person. So can 0 divided by any number equal 0? But let's say tomorrow. Tomorrow's what? Tuesday. Do we meet Tuesday? 12:45. I have the donut delivery dude, D to the third, donut delivery dude, bring 28 donuts to class. But how many people are here at 12:45?
0.
Well, there's none of us here. And so, what is division? Division is sharing equally amongst all entities. If there are no entities to share with, sharing is impossible. And so we call that undefined. Okay? If one person shows up, they get all 28 donuts. But if there's nobody there, we can't do this. We can't do this math. It's undefined. Okay? Yes?
Is there a sign for undefined, or do you write undefined?
So, there is a sign associated with undefined, but it's called the empty set, but that's not the same thing. So we're just going to call it undefined, okay? All right. Look up here, please. I'm going to rip through these. Look at all these numbers being multiplied right here. What's the answer?
0.
It's 0, okay? I always get somebody who starts multiplying all these, and then they get to that one, and they're like, oh, fetch. Okay? You know? This is like, boys, this is like when you ask a girl out, you know, and you buy her dinner, and then you go roller skating, and then you take her to dessert, and at the end of the night, she tells you she's got a missionary. And you're like, fetch, man. This is a 0 for me. You know what I mean? I just wasted all this money. Oh, all right. What's wrong? You didn't find that funny, ladies? It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. A couple of these boys are a little stung, though. They've had this happen to them. Who's had that happen to you? Nope. What? A girl wouldn't do that?
As a missionary and like
Whew. Dude, I had some girls that had missionaries that were happy to go out with me. But when I went in for my own dessert, they gave me the 0. I'm messing with you. Stop it. What's 0 over negative 23? 0. What is 23 minus 23? 0 on the bottom. So this answer is undefined. Very good. We need to talk about the concept of negative 3 squared versus parentheses negative 3 squared. This is powerful. This is interesting. It's going to have a big impact on some stuff we do on this very test coming up, which opens on Thursday. Okay? Negative 3 squared. Look up here, please. So I'm going to scroll this down because there's a concept here that you have to understand. It's a really important concept. Okay. The exponent affects only what it touches. The exponent affects only what it touches. What is this exponent touching?
3.
The 3. So the negative comes along for the ride. This is 3 times 3, which makes 9. The answer is negative 9. But this one, what's the exponent touching?
Negative.
Parentheses, which means everything in the parentheses gets affected by it. So this is negative 3 times negative 3, which makes positive 9. Okay? Big difference here. So we do the problem underneath it. 5 minus 3 squared, 5 minus 3 squared, versus 5 plus negative 3 squared. We said that a single minus and plus and negative are the same thing. But when these are being squared, it changes things up. The 5 and the minus come down. Order of operations says that's 3 squared is 9. 5 minus 9 is negative 4. Over here, we're going to have 5 plus. It's going to be negative 3 times negative 3, which makes positive 9, which makes 14. Two very different answers. Okay? You guys cool? Okay, let's go to the last page. It says look at the homework together. No, let's not say we did. Oh man. Yeah, we can do this. We can do this. Okay. Let's do these problems together. Let's rip them and get them done. You guys don't leave if you don't have to. I'll tell you what, you might be an extra 3 minutes, but if you have to go, you got to go. But It's not time yet. Got a couple more minutes. Check it out. So we got negative 3x squared in parentheses. And I want you to examine this one, x equals 2 and x equals negative 2. Okay? You guys can start doing those. And then we got negative 3x squared without the parentheses. And we're going to examine those when x equals 2 and x equals negative 2. And we're going to get very different answers for these two problems, even though they look almost the same. What's up?
Squared needs to be outside the parentheses.
Oh, the squared. Sorry. Thank you. Yes. Okay. All right, here we go. So if x equals 2, it's going to be negative 3 times 2, right? And we're going to square that, which is negative 6, which being squared would be negative 6 times negative 6 makes what? Positive 36. If we put negative 2 in, we're going to have negative 3 times negative 2, all inside the parentheses, which is being squared, which is going to be, and you don't really need that on the parentheses, but that just feels awkward, doesn't it, when you have a little dot and a minus there? So negative 3 times negative 2 makes positive 6, which when you think about that being squared, also is 6 times 6, which is 36. Those two are the same. But they're going to be different than this answer, where we're going to have negative 3 times 2 squared, and negative 3 times negative 2, which is being squared. So 2 squared is 4, because I have to obey the order of operations, and then I get negative 12. Over here, I'm going to have negative 2 squared, which is negative 2 times negative 2, which is also 4. The negative 3 is part of it, and that's negative 12. Okay? We just rip through those really quick. Okay, these last three, powerful, let's go. What is a reciprocal? What's a reciprocal, okay? Let's shake hands, okay? In fact, let's shake arms. Let's do this, let's go like this, okay? Everybody look up here. This is like yin and yang. You know what yin and yang are? Okay, what does it mean to reciprocate? It means to give back what you receive, okay? So if I extend my arm to him and he extends his arm to me, we are giving back the same thing. It's a handshake, okay? When we do this, when we do something like this, though, we become one. We unite. We're one. Okay? That's the whole thing of yin and yang. Okay? Is to unite and be one. But we are also mirror images of each other. What's interesting is look at this. We look like opposite images of each other. Because a true mirror image is raise that hand, and I raise this hand. But what's interesting is this is my left, and that's his right. Here, we are actually doing the exact same thing, but we are opposite of one another. But if I turn, hold your arm up, we are the mirror image of each other. Okay? So a reciprocal in math is the exact same thing. It's powerful. Watch this. Is a reciprocal means that we are taking its opposite fraction. So 5 is the same as 5 over 1. The reciprocal would be 1/5. Okay? Yin and yang. But when we multiply these two, what does it always equal? It equals 1. And I said, when we have yin and yang, we are united, we become 1. Okay? So, kind of interesting stuff. So, what is the reciprocal of 1/3? Quickly.
3 over 1.
It's 3 over 1 or just 3. Agreed? Okay? What is the reciprocal of negative 2/3?
3 over negative 2.
It is negative 3 over 2. Understood? The negative comes along for the ride. Okay? When we clasp each other's arms, did our hair color change? No. Okay? So, remember, a sign is just an attribute of the number. That stays constant. Our hair color stays the same. Our individuality stays the same. Just because we're united doesn't mean our individuality is diminished. Okay? Negative 8.5. Okay? You cannot do this one unless you convert it to a fraction. So this is negative 8 and 1/2, right? 0.5 is a half. But we really can't do it unless we go improper fraction. 2 times 8 is 16 plus 1 is 17. This is negative 17 over 2. So its reciprocal would be what? Negative 2 over 17. That's its reciprocal of negative 8.5. And then help me. Y over 5. What is the reciprocal of y over 5? Everybody. 5 over y. Okay, very good. These next three are weird. Okay? It says rewrite as multiplication. You're going to see this in your homework, and you're going to be like, what? What am I doing? This is so weird, okay? If I have 3 divided by 17, do you understand that this is 3 over 1 and 17 over 1? Yes or no? If I've divided there, when I divide fractions, I can change division to multiplication and flip the second fraction. So I've now taken this and expressed it as multiplication. That's how you do this, okay? So if I have 4y minus 8, 4y minus 8 over negative 5, is that what's up there? Okay? Then, wouldn't you agree, I have, in essence, 4y minus 8 over 1 divided by 1 over negative 5. Agreed? Which would be 4y minus 8 over 1 would just be 4y minus 8. Change division to multiplication, and flip the second fraction to negative 5 over 1, or just times negative 5. What's that?
You would flip that because it was over
Oh, did I already
negative
have it
5.
flipped?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm screwing this up.
Because it's
I'm sorry.
over negative 5, so it would be divided by negative 5, and then it would be.
Times, yeah, no, I'm good. Divided by,
Negative 5.
yeah, oh, sorry. I already flipped it. Divided by negative 5 would be divided times 1 over negative 5. Thank you, Grace.
Yeah.
I'm going so fast, my head's spinning too. All right, negative 8 over 5. Last one. Okay, we're going to have negative 8 divided by 5, which is negative 8 times 1/5. Okay? Okay, last thing, look up here, please. Does negative 1/2 equal negative 1 over 2 equal 1 over negative 2? Yes or no? Yes. If a negative's outside of a fraction, we're telling you the fraction is negative. A negative and a positive make a negative fraction. A positive and a negative make a negative fraction. So if we scroll up, it says, does it also equal negative 1 over negative 2? What's the answer? No. Because a negative and a negative would make a positive. Okay? So look up here. Negative 1/2 can be expressed with the negative in the numerator or the denominator, but it cannot go to both, or it would change the very essence and make it a positive fraction. Those are all just little salt and pepper, you know, that you sprinkle on top of some of our algebra problems that they're going to have us mess with. You guys are awesome. Good luck with everything. And I will see you on Wednesday. Be ready to take the syllabus quiz.